Conor Benn is determined to get his hands raised against Chris Eubank Jr., as he is seen relentlessly training and preparing for the upcoming clash. However, Ricky Hatton acknowledged that many are favoring Chris Eubank in his upcoming fight with Conor Benn, and he understands why. Chris has fought top-level opponents like Billy Joe Saunders in his own weight class, whereas Conor hasn't faced anyone with Chris's experience yet. Conor is also moving up 2 weight divisions, which is a significant challenge. However, Ricky pointed out that Conor's drive, self-belief, and determination, much like his father Nigel's, could make a difference in the fight. He believes Conor's will to win might give him an edge over Chris.
A lot of people are favouring, seems lately at the minute, favouring Eubank, aren't they? And I get why they've done it, because I mean, let's have it right. Conor's not boxed anyone near Chris's potential. And when you think who Chris has beaten Billy Joe Saunders, at that level, I mean, that's at his own weight. So to jump up 2 weights and to fight someone like Chris, it is a massive ask. But I'm quite, I'm quite close to, to Nigel and Conor, and I think in his last couple of fights he's not looked quite as explosive as he previously has done. But in fact, that he's not boiling down, he's moving up in weight, and Chris has to boil down that little bit, that little bit extra. That'll help Conor.
Ricky also highlighted that Chris has struggled with cutting weight in recent fights, and this could be a problem again. He reminded everyone that the fight between Conor and Chris had fallen through before, and when Chris fought Liam, his weight cut affected his performance, leading to a knockout. Ricky thinks that if Chris continues to struggle with weight, it could impact his performance in this fight, giving Conor a better chance to succeed.
But I just know because I know him personally, the desire and the self-belief and the drive that he has. He has this real will not be denied type of drive, like his dad, to be honest with you. And I'm thinking that might just... And Chris has been, stopped. He's boiling down in weight. Last time you don't forget, the fight with Conor fell through. And then he ended up, he was boiling himself down, and then he fought Liam, and I think that's why he got knocked out. Because he was boiling himself down, which is what he's doing again. So I'm going to go with my mate Conor.
Fair enough.
Izzy Asif believes that the upcoming fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank is a close one. While he acknowledges that Chris has likely achieved more in his career, he feels that Conor might have more hunger and desire to prove himself. This hunger could give Conor the edge, especially considering the last few years he's had. Izzy agrees with Ricky Hatton's view that Conor might have that extra drive, but he also recognizes that size will play a major role in the fight. Izzy is excited about the rivalry between the two, noting that it feels genuine, not just about the numbers.
It's a close one. I really think it's close one. I think Billy Joe beats them both. Not on the same night, but he beats them both. I really do, different level. I like Conor Benn. I know he come to our last York show, so on that basis, I think potentially got a bit more hunger. Potentially the one who's, I said Chris probably already kind of not made his mark in the game, but probably achieved a bit more than Conor Benn. I can feel like Conor, especially with the last couple of years he had, I feel like he's got a lot to prove. So maybe he has got more hunger. Maybe he's got more desire. Maybe he's got a bit more to prove. So Conor Benn probably has that little bit edge, and Ricky's probably got right to say that. But it's a close one. Size is going to play a big factor in it. And it's exciting. It's got a lot of history to it, a lot of rivalry.
However, Izzy disagrees with the way the build-up has included some controversial moments, such as the egg incident, which he believes was below the belt. He feels that using an object to smash in someone's face wasn't something to be encouraged. Despite that, Izzy still thinks the fight will generate huge interest and be a sellout. Ultimately, he thinks it'll be an exciting event with a lot of history and rivalry behind it.
I think it's genuine rivalry and all. I don't think it's like for the numbers. The numbers done great, and the egg smashing in the face, which I didn't agree with, by the way. I think we're below the belt to use an object and smash it in anybody's face. It's not something I'd encourage as opposed to the fights, but it happens. He's done the numbers, and good luck to them both. But the show's going to be an absolute sellout. I'm sure it'll do big numbers online, but it's going to be interesting.
However, Conor Benn is known for his incredible speed, and he showcased his quick reflexes once again by throwing rapid punches in his recent training. His lightning-fast hands make him a dangerous opponent, as his ability to land swift combinations gives him an edge in the ring against many competitors. Moreover, Barry Hearn believes the upcoming fight between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is one of the biggest to ever take place in England due to the intense personal backstory between their fathers. He's backing Conor Benn, feeling he has a point to prove after the challenges he's faced. Barry sees it as a 50-50 fight but believes Benn has the ability to knock out Eubank Jr., despite the size advantage Eubank holds.
I'm not going to let you go, Barry. I want to ask you, but at the end of the month, obviously, big fight. Eubank Jr. takes on Conor Benn. Well talked about, well documented. Where are you on it?
I think it's going to be a massive fight. I think it's arguably one of the biggest fights ever to take place in England. The personalities, the backstory between the dads, everything works to make this humongous. We could have sold 500,000 tickets. I think I'm with Conor Benn on this. I think he's gone through more than enough in his life, which has now been completely exonerated. What a waste of 2 years of a young man's life. He's got a point to prove, but Eubank is the bigger man. So I see it as a 50-50 fight, and I believe that Conor Benn can knock out Eubank Jr.
Josh Warrington acknowledged that the potential fight would still be a big one, but he emphasized that the opponent, likely referring to Eubank Jr., needs to take care of business first. When asked who would win, Josh Warrington predicted Eubank Jr. would win, simply stating, "I'm just going to go for Eubank Jr. just to box him."
I don't think it were just down to him. I think it went beyond that. I think it were down to the people who broadcast and stuff like that. So, you know, I think like it still would be a big fight, but obviously he's got to take care of business, hasn't he?
Last one, Josh. Eubank Jr. Benn. Who wins and why?
I'm just going to go for Eubank Jr. Just to box him.
Conor Benn has been putting in intense training, focusing on building strength, speed, and endurance for his high-stakes fight against Chris Eubank Jr. His preparation involves rigorous sparring, conditioning, and tactical work, ensuring he's ready to face the challenge. Benn's dedication is evident as he sharpens his skills for victory. Moreover, Harlem Eubank expressed that Chris Eubank Jr. is leaps and bounds ahead of Conor in terms of experience and the caliber of fighters he's faced. While acknowledging that Chris may be at a disadvantage due to the weight, Harlem emphasized that Chris's boxing skill set and ability are on a completely different level compared to Conor Benn.
I think Chris is leaps and bounds ahead of Conor. You know, his experience, the guys he's been in with, you know, take away the weight, because you know Chris is obviously going to be disadvantaged in there with the weight as well, but just ability, you know, boxing skill set is on a completely different level. So
yeah, well, it's interesting. A fight I can't wait for. I'm sure we'll be seeing you there on Fight Week. Harlem, always a pleasure, mate. Good to see you.
Josh Kelly believes the upcoming fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is a crossroads for both fighters. He suggests that Eubank may be nearing the end of his career and questions whether he has enough left to handle Benn, who will bring a lot of energy to the ring. However, Kelly also points out that Benn hasn't faced opponents of Eubank's caliber, which raises doubts about whether he is truly ready for such a high-level challenge. Kelly critiques Benn for calling out multiple fighters in the past but never following through with the fights, suggesting that Benn is good at making noise but hasn't delivered on his promises.
Eubank's towards the end. Benn's obviously went through his stuff, so it's just a crossroads. It's just like, has Eubank got enough left in him to deal with someone who's going to be lots of energy, and is Benn, is he really what he is? He hasn't really boxed at the caliber of Eubank. So it's like, Ben's been calling me out for years. He's the best guy at calling people out, not fighting them. I think he's called every person out on the face of the earth and never f***ing fought them. And he's just waited out for this Eubank fight. Yeah. But it's f***ing funny. It's actually clever.
Despite his doubts about Ben's readiness, Kelly acknowledges that if Eubank's performance has deteriorated due to age and weight issues, Benn could seize the opportunity at the right moment. He believes that if Eubank is still at his peak, it could be a long night for Benn. The fight, according to Kelly, hinges on whether Eubank can overcome the potential disadvantages of age and weight restrictions, making it a potentially decisive moment in both fighters' careers.
He called me out back in like 2018 and stuff, and we signed contracts over and nothing ever got back, so it was just like, emails and stuff we sent over saying we need this, we'll be at the fight, and nothing ever come back.
Yeah.
It's good at making a lot of noise and getting where he needs to get, but if Eubank's on form, then it could be a long night for Ben. But if Eubank is aged over the last few years or aged overnight with the weight restrictions and stuff like this, then I could see Ben getting him at the right time.
Yeah. On the other end, Darren Barker discussed the deep-rooted rivalry between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., emphasizing that the animosity between their fathers, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr., will forever be a part of their legacy. Barker highlighted the palpable tension that exists between the two sons, noting that this dislike will persist as long as they are around. He added that this intense rivalry will undoubtedly lead to a blockbuster fight, with the moment when the referee brings them together in the ring before the fight being particularly thrilling. The atmosphere in the stadium, according to Barker, will be electrifying, and the energy will be felt by everyone present.
The dislike between Ben and Eubanks will be forever. As long as there's Ben and Eubanks on earth, they will not get along. And that is so evident between the two sons. And I just think it's going to be a blockbuster. And I've said this so many times when I'm asked about the fight.
Barker also expressed his excitement about the event, acknowledging that regardless of whether fans love or hate either fighter, the anticipation surrounding the match will draw people in. He praised the remarkable stadium hosting the fight, giving credit to the venue despite his personal feelings toward Tottenham. According to Barker, the rivalry between the two fathers has now been passed down to their sons, making this a unique and special matchup. He confidently predicted that the fight will deliver in a way that few others could, ensuring that fans of both fighters will tune in to witness the drama unfold.
That moment where the referee brings them to the middle of the ring, right? And I get excited even thinking about that moment when the referee brings them to the middle of the ring, and then he gives them their instructions, goes over the rules and sends them back to the corner. Can you imagine the energy, the atmosphere in that stadium? A stadium that I have to give credit to, as much as I hate Tottenham.
I agree with what you're about to say.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. That energy in that remarkable stadium is going to be electric, and I'm all for this. I'm all for this. Whether you love Eubank, you hate him. Whether you love Conor Benn or you hate him, you are going to watch this event because it is special. You know, this is quite unique in that the rivalry that the dads have, the son now have. They will never get along, and I think we can all agree that this fight will deliver.
Jamie Moore mentioned that the only scenario where he sees Eubank losing is if he struggles with the weight, which could play a crucial role in the outcome of the fight. He pointed out that weight classes exist for a reason, and in most cases, a stronger, larger fighter has the upper hand over a smaller opponent. Moore feels that Eubank's size should give him the edge, but the major concern is whether he'll be able to maintain his strength due to the weight restrictions in place.
The only way I see someone, I've said this loads of times as well, weight divisions for a reason, and a good big one always beats a good little one, and I just feel like Eubank, the only way Eubank will lose is if he's weak at the weight, and that might be the reason why he's weak at the weight, so it could be a big part of it.
Who do you think wins? What's your prediction on that fight?
I just feel like Eubank's the bigger guy, and if he's strong at the weight, then I feel like he should win, but that's the big question, is he going to be strong because of the claws?
Johnny Nelson originally favored Conor Benn, but now leans towards Chris Eubank Jr. due to Eubank's consistent activity. Despite not being impressed by Eubank's last fight, Nelson believes his ongoing schedule puts him in a stronger position. Had Benn's career remained uninterrupted, Nelson would have backed him, noting Benn's rapid progress. However, with Benn's 15-month absence, Nelson feels this break has hindered his development.
I'd have said Conor Benn, so I'd have to lean towards Chris. For what reason? Because his last fight, I wasn't impressed, but he's been more active, he's been busier, and so therefore you've got to lean towards. I would lean towards Chris for that reason. If Conor's career had carried on the way it carried on, then I'd say Conor, because I think he was one of the fastest developing fighters I'd ever seen in the UK at that particular time. So I just think that time out, I think we've lost an important period in Conor's development as a fighter.
Eddie Hearn is thrilled about the upcoming Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight, praising Eubank's ability to promote the event, even if it can be somewhat irritating. Conor Benn's dedication and rigorous preparation, stating he's never seen anyone work as hard as Benn in this camp. Hearn is confident that when the bell rings on April 26th, Benn will enter the ring with the intensity of a caged animal, ready to fight.
Can't wait. I mean, look, Eubank's playing a blinder for the promotion of the fight. I mean, a little bit annoying. I mean, unfortunately, if I could fight, I'd want to give him a slap myself, but that's not going to happen. So, Conor's fired up. I mean, honestly, I've never seen someone put themselves through what he is putting himself through in training camp. He is going to be like a caged animal when that bell goes on April 26th.
Despite Benn's size disadvantage, Hearn highlighted his key strengths, including his hunger, youth, tenacity, and unpredictability. He also pointed out that Benn is training alongside his father, staying highly motivated and focused on the dream of defeating Eubank in an unforgettable way. Hearn expressed confidence that Benn will deliver an exciting and impressive performance on fight night.
A big disadvantage in size, but he makes up for it in attribute, hunger, youth, tenacity, volatility, and he is in camp with his dad, grafting and dreaming every day of violating Chris Eubank Jr. on April 26th and doing it in spectacular fashion. And I can't wait.
Matt Macklin stated that Chris Eubank Jr. is the clear favorite for the fight, but after speaking with Nigel Benn at the press conference, he began to reconsider. Nigel's unwavering confidence in his son's abilities was so compelling that it almost made Matt believe in Conor Benn's chances. Big John Fisher expressed concerns about Eubank's mental state after he smashed an egg in someone's face, believing it reflected a lack of focus. While acknowledging that such antics may generate attention, Fisher admitted he doesn't care for the trash-talking or dramatic stunts often used in boxing. He feels these tactics are unnecessary and undermine the integrity of the sport.
We don't really know the answers to these, so I think you've got to say Eubank Jr. is a pretty strong favourite. But I was speaking to Nigel Benn at the press conference at Tottenham Hotspur, and I thought I better not sit around him too long because his confidence, he was that confident that he almost swayed me. It's very infectious when you've got someone totally believing in themselves or their son, who cannot see any other way but them winning. It can be, like I say, contagious, infectious, whatever. So I think, look, cold light of day, I think you've got to say Eubank Jr. is the favourite.
Spencer Fearon expressed his excitement for the upcoming fight, emphasizing the widespread attention it has garnered. He noted that the event has brought people together with everyone discussing it, making it feel like a significant occasion. Spencer reflected on the first match between the two fathers on November 18th, 1990, and how it felt like the entire world paused to watch that historic battle.
To be honest with you, I was a bit concerned about Eubank's mental state because smash an egg into someone's face, you're not in a good place. So hopefully it's just because of emotions and, but yeah, it did concern me because people like all this about boxing. I don't like that side of boxing. I don't think you need to do any of that trash talking or all the acts. Obviously it's got everyone talking about it, but for Eubank to do that to him shows he's not in a good place for me. But it's down to them what they do and how they do it. So, but for me personally, I don't like watching things like that.
He praised both fighters for promoting the event authentically without relying on manufactured drama, which has only heightened the anticipation. Spencer expressed his eagerness for the fight and wished both competitors the best. He believes the buildup is genuine, not driven by artificial hype, and is confident the better fighter will come out on top. Spencer's appreciation for the fight goes beyond the competition itself, as he values the public attention it has sparked and the widespread conversations it has ignited.
For the simple fact is, like, that event within itself is fantastic because it's crossed over. Lots of people are talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it. There is nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely excellent. Plus, I can remember when the two fathers first fought, and the second time is when they fought in October of 93. But when the fathers first fought, when they first went at it, I remember that fight clearly in my head. It was a Sunday night. It was at November 18th, 1990, and it was like, it seemed like the world stopped to watch that fight.
Duke McKenzie raised concerns about Chris Eubank Jr.'s weight cut for the upcoming fight, particularly the large gap between his natural weight and the required 160 pounds. He warned about the risks of weight draining, explaining how it can weaken a fighter and affect their performance negatively. McKenzie also drew on his own experiences with weight cutting, stressing the harmful impact it can have on a boxer's ability to perform at their best.
My concern for Eubank is the amount of weight this boy's got to cut to come down to, I think the fight's made at 160 pounds, is that right? Right. So he's got to come down from 100, from whatever his walking round weight is. Let's say he walks around at 180 pounds when he's out of training. That's like 20 pound weight difference, right? That he's got to lose. It's not safe. It's not. he can't possibly be at his physically strongest. He can't. And he's really putting himself on the line, right? Because when you're weight weakened, I know I've been weight drained in fights previously. So I'm speaking from a point of reference. When you're weight drained, it doesn't matter what you eat on the day, it doesn't make you stronger.
Sam Jones confidently predicted that Conor Benn would win the fight, highlighting Benn's youth and high energy as key advantages. While he recognized Chris Eubank Jr.'s ability to recover from his loss to Liam Smith, Jones still leaned toward Benn, emphasizing that the timing of the fight played to Benn's benefit.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
What do you think happens in the fight? I spoke to you, I think, a couple of months back.
I just think Conor Benn's going to win. Too young, too fresh, and although, listen, Eubank, it took a lot for him to come back after getting viciously knocked out by Liam Smith, to come back and beat Liam Smith.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.